I'm Tex forever.
All these structures make me anxious. Look, I'm just tryna f you, not them hoes you came with. Pull up on 6 so loud and banging. Yeah, Texas forever, still twisting my fingers. Texas forever, you speaking my language. Look, all in the day, but the Wednesday. Out in the field trying to score me a deal. Put my name by that X like I'm Kimbe. I do it off of my team, just a young covered in green like I'm Dende. We ain't compadres, comprende. Clutch city, crush city, whatever you call it. I stay with my friends, stay hands in, never hand out. Look, I had it, go get it, my everybody say I'm the man now. Wrist moving in and out the kitchen, my might pull up on 6 in the whip, whipping it. I'm just a young getting it. All I had was the pot I was pissing in. Now everybody want pieces, percentages. I'm just trying to get my niggas over. I did the work that these niggas want. All this money, cash, cars, clothes, hoes. Coming in fast, but I'm sipping slow. Cause it's Texas forever. You already know. It's more down that
Tex forever.
Welcome into a special spooky Halloween episode of the H-Town Huddle. I am your host this dreadful evening, the Psycho Killer, with the theme of Bury the Jets on Thursday Night Football. Welcome in, ghouls and girls and guys and whatever you want to call yourself. The terrifying Texans travel to MetLife on All Hallows Eve to face the New York Jets team on the verge of death. Can CJ Stroud and company bury the lowly Jets? All that and more on this week's episode of the H-Town Huddle. Good evening, guys and ghouls and girls and everybody who's joining me tonight on this special edition, Halloween special of the H-Town Huddle. I am your host, the Neon Peacock. Of course, I hope you enjoyed that little Halloween edition of the intro there. I am wearing my skeleton t-shirt, at least a little too hot in here to go full costume and do the face paint and all that good stuff. But really, you guys know me. If you know me, you know that I enjoy Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. I know it's kind of weird because I'm like... well, if you know me, it kind of contradicts with a lot of things that that I should stand for. But it's all about having fun. It's all about the kids, and it dates back to just me going out and not really getting to experience a lot of Halloween when I was younger. So of course, you never grow up, and you want to continue having fun, especially when you have the freedom to do the things that your parents wouldn't let you do when you were a kid. So now as an adult, I have free reign for all that stuff. My wife kind of gives me the eye and tells me to cool it and not to watch scary movies with the kids, but they love it also. And that's what it's all about. It's about having fun, right? So thank you guys once again for joining me tonight. We are going to just recap the Colts' demise last week really quickly, and then we'll jump into the killer matchup tomorrow night on Halloween night. So appreciate everybody for rocking with me in the chat. Shout out to Lee, our ear to the streets, as always. No, he enjoyed that. And of course, Bogar, my main man over there at the GMM network, he says, killer intro, pun intended, of course. Yeah, the intro was pretty dope. Hope you guys liked that. That was pretty fun. Just changing it up a little bit, making light of the holiday and whatnot. Make sure you guys are joining us tomorrow for the live watch party as well. I got to figure out what my plans are. I think that there's a trunk or treat going on at my kids' karate, but it's not going to take the whole evening or anything like that. So we should be able to enjoy the Jets-Texans matchup together, everyone. So thank you guys once again. Appreciate it. I don't want to grow up either. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Exactly, GMM. That's the motto around here. And that's why we do this. We get together, we talk football, we have fun. I think that's why we play fantasy football, as adults, just kind of relive those childhood days and times. Like I live vicariously through these guys out there on the TV. I can't play tackle football anymore. And I think, a few short years after high school, I was like, I'm definitely not playing tackle football anymore. So especially with insurance and things about, growing up, right? You have things that you have to worry about like health and your kids and, your brain. One too many concussions back in the day. Hey, salute, Derek. Appreciate you for hopping in. I know Derek enjoys Halloween, scary movies, and all that stuff from the time that I've talked with him. So I know he's about to have a lot of fun on this holiday as well. So yeah, make sure you guys are hitting the like, the thumbs up, and the subscription stuff. Make sure you're checking out the sister channels and our mothership, the GWN Network. And I'm going to let you guys in on a sneak peek. Those of you watching tonight for the next 36 hours or so, because the sale already started, if you use code BOO12 at neonpeacockmerch.com at checkout, that's code BOO12 at checkout, you'll be in store for some $12 t-shirts. I know Lee already took advantage of that earlier today. New Texans linebacker. Here's our news from the streets, the ear to the streets. Lee, he says, new Texans linebacker Devin White is excited to work with head coach DeMeco Ryans, who was a big part of his decision to join Houston. Yeah, and I think I kind of touched on that last week, saying, that DeMeco's a bit of a linebacker whisperer in a sense. He kind of gets a hold of some of these guys. I've seen it with H2O. We saw it with Christian Harris last season as well. And they're able to really succeed, or he gets the best out of them in these, in this system. So, like I said, just something to keep an eye on. Devin did get into the game this last week and made a few plays as well. So definitely needed. We're shorthanded with Aziz Al-Shire missing with a knee injury. And of course, H2O still dealing with the concussion issues. So, and since we're on that, might as well just, let's go ahead and just start this time. I don't necessarily have like a game plan for this. But I'll start with the injury report and then we'll double back over the Colts recap. Why don't we do that? So here is the Texans injury news. Let me go to full screen because I'm having trouble reading this. All right. And I think I even have a banner. Here we go. Boom. Yeah, I'm getting on it. All right, here we go. Pause. And there I go into the corner. Cool. So injury report versus the Jets. Here we are. This came out today. Obviously short week. Texans are playing tomorrow night. This is Wednesday already. So they sped up. They kind of had like a double long practice. Not a lot of stuff available to the media as far as them being able to take video or see. But here you have it. Aziz Al-Shire again misses with a knee injury. This one really hurt. Interior offensive lineman Jarrett Patterson is still dealing with a concussion that he sustained late in the game last week. He came in for Kenyon Green, who was actually benched this last week. Remember, I was calling for that. So the Texans did shake it up, but they still started him and they waited until like the third quarter to bench him. So second half of the game, Jarrett Patterson, former center last year, second-year guy, moving over to that left guard spot. This man has played a little bit of everywhere. He's played right guard, he's played left guard, he's played center. He was coming in and filling in admirably on the left side of the line for Kenyon Green, and he got concussed on that long Joe Mixon, Sir Mix-a-Lot touchdown run that we saw from them earlier. Man, I wish I had like another set of hands or like another producer in the house so I can do something like this.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Got like a triple dose of Joe Mixon. And, while we're on that and we're talking about Joe Mixon and bouncing around a little bit, but I do have a note. Well, maybe I'll just come back to it, right? I'm sure I'll throw that out there later on. So, like I said, a little disorganized today, short week, planning for Halloween, all that good news. But the rest of it, safety Jimmy Ward out with a groin injury. This is a guy that I want to say has been kind of a bust for us. Last year, he had one game-sealing interception versus Russell Wilson and the Broncos. He had a couple of big hits early on in this year, and then that's it. He hasn't really done much for us out there. I feel like this has been kind of a bust keep as far as keeping him or retaining him from last season. He's dealt with injury issues the last couple of seasons, and he's continued to deal with that. So right, obviously Kalen Bullock has been playing well and filling in admirably in his absence, and so we were kind of waiting and hoping to see if the rookie would step up and be safe enough to start, and he's kind of run away with that ever since Jimmy Ward got injured. I think in week 3 or middle of week 2. So Kalen Bullock, like I said, doing well, filling in admirably. Unfortunately, Jimmy Ward again missing with a groin injury, and like I said, probably pegging this as a Caserio, DeMeco Ryans kind of like fail as far as what we could have gotten out. There was guys like Isaiah Simmons out there who we could have gone after instead. But, like I said, the rookie, Kalen Bullock, still playing well. Unfortunately, Jimmy Ward cannot get healthy. When he is healthy, He helps as a run-stopping DB versus running teams, and Caleb Bullock is more of like the coverage guy, but he's been playing good football. Every time he's out there, it seems like he's getting an interception. I trust him more in coverage, and that's where the Texans are really susceptible. So I'd rather have him out there than Jimmy Ward, to be honest. Nico Collins still out with a hamstring. Of course, he will be back, or he's expected to be back next week. My guess is if he wasn't placed on the IR, he'd be good enough to go this week, but you don't want him out there then having a fast turnaround on this for the next game, because I think the Texans play 3 games within the next 10 days or something crazy like that, or 3 primetime games coming up. Sunday night after this one, and then another Monday night later on. So, all eyes on Texas in this tough stretch. But luckily, we're expected to get Nico Collins back. And like I said, I would have expected him to play this week had he not been placed on the IR. And then, of course, linebacker Kamari Lassiter did return to practice. You see the green check mark next to his name down there at the bottom. And Henry Tuato also returned. Tuato, the Samoan there, or Hawaiian, returned to practice from the concussion injury. So good to see him back out there. And all you guys, IDP lineups, go ahead. He should be ready to go. He said he was excited in a locker room interview. So I'm expecting good things from H2O, a bump up over Jake Hansen, who did have a missed tackle 2 weeks ago in a game versus the Packers that could have kept Josh Jacobs out of the end zone and maybe help us win that game. So Tuato is back. Aziz missing again, probably not tracking to play. I don't expect him to play, so we'll probably get another huge dose of Neville Hewitt, who's played phenomenal. He almost had a pick 6 versus the Packers, 10-plus stops in the last 2 games, I believe. So really good. Like I said, you get a linebacker into this situation, and D'Amico just does the best with them. So really good to see there. Good stuff from them. What's going on in the chat? Hey, what is good? My man Tino, what is good, team? And Philip V, shout out, man. Appreciate you. Who is Devin White taking snaps from this week? Yeah, like I said, it'd probably be Neville Hewitt, if any, but I don't know if he's that far progressed, or with the nuances, or if the coaching staff has that much trust in him this early on from being acquired. So my guess is if H2O is back, it's going to be H2O fully fired up with Neville Hewitt taking that other spot, and then sprinkled in with Devin White. So I think Devin White would be taking those Jake Hansen snaps, although Hansen has also played fairly well. Like I said, he also got a little banged up, and like I said, he had a slip missed tackle in coverage, which you can't really blame him for that. He's basically a third-string linebacker who was able to come up and I think get like somewhere between 7 to 9 tackles the other week. So there you have it. There's the injury report, or the Texans' final injury report before this game versus the Jets tomorrow. Let's double back a little bit here, though, and talk about the phenomenal win over the Colts. It was close, like I mentioned last week. I think I was talking about it. I said the Colts have played in only 1-score games all season long, so I knew it was going to be a close one. Divisional game. They know each other very well. And last year, all the Colts fans were talking all this shit, saying the Texans haven't beaten Anthony Richardson, blah, blah, blah. And, well, guess what? They beat him twice, right? And a lot of that had to do with this tandem duo right here, the dudes that I like to call the nightmare fuel, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., right? And so these guys have just been killing it out there for the Texans this season. Lots of pressure. We'll get into some of their statistics here in a bit. But, or actually, I can just pull them up since I have them there right now. There it is, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. versus the Colts last week. 16 pressures. And this is, mind you, a really, really good Colts offensive line, right? They've done a phenomenal job all year long. Like I said, the Colts have been playing in 1-score games despite Anthony Richardson. So Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. alone, 16 pressures, 3 sacks between the two of them. Obviously, both of those going to Will Anderson. 12 hurries, and then the win rate there, 30%. They're talking 1 out of every 3 plays. That's just ridiculous. And then a 16.1 the win rate, right? So if you're getting there on a third of the time, and then you're winning half of that time, you're absolutely wrecking the opposition. So good to see them really getting going. Also, Tim Settle has been one of the most productive interior linemen in the past 3 weeks, according to PFF grades. And just, getting pressure and really just filling that gap lane, letting these two guys work on the outside, and then letting the sacks basically come to him. So awesome stuff from the Texans defensive line. And that's what you like to see. And that's going to be one of the strong suits, obviously, this week. And here you go, the rundown of the schedule. They got the Jets this week. Then they have Detroit Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken. And then the following Monday night, they're playing Dallas. So, rough little stretch as far as the way the schedule shakes out for the time that they have to rest in between these games. But like I said, typically in these shorter weeks like this, the better team typically is the one that just kind of comes out and wins, because the prep is a lot lower. You're not grinding a bunch of film, and then you have the shorter recovery times and guys out, and game plans are kind of just, vanilla. So the teams that are typically just better off are the ones that kind of, stand out. So, so let's go back. Let's try to cut through the Colts really quick if I can. I don't have a lot of images, so I probably have more stuff over here in my banners. So let's just run it down this way. Here you go. Eric Murray versus the Colts. That's the backup safety who's been, I guess, kind of playing in place more so for Jimmy Ward as well. And they've just been relying on Kalen Bullock in the coverage stuff. But Eric Murray has been one of the best backup safeties so far this season. 6 targets last week, only 2 catches, 30 yards, 3 pass breakups, 50.7 passer rating when targeted. And I don't know if that was more Anthony Richardson or not, right? He had 2 run stops as well. So Eric Murray doing his thing. Got to give him his flowers. And if you guys don't know who Eric Murray is or what he looks like, I think I have. I thought I had a picture of Eric Murray, but I guess not. Wow. Tim Settle, white out, green. No, I guess not. Damn. And speaking of the linebacker potential, here's an image of Devin White with the newly joined Texans linebacking core. There is Azeez Al-Shire, Agent 0, then H2O right there, right next to him. And then the guy who still has not returned from IR, Christian Harris, man. So if we could get, the potential to get these guys, so only 2 of these dudes right here would be starting. And then, of course, we've been relying on Neville Hewitt and Jake Hansen lately. So really depleted in the linebacking core, but good to see H2O back this week. So cross out number 0, Agent 0, cross out 48. Christian Harris is still on injured reserve. And you remember Christian Harris, he had that awesome pick 6 versus Joe Flacco last year in the playoffs, the one that D'Amico Ryans basically called the play before it happened. And then it happened, right? He's like, go get me the ball. And he turned it into a pick 6. And that was just a complete shellacking of the Browns. I think we won by like 40 points in the playoffs at home, which was just awesome. But yeah, Eric Murray been playing well. So well enough. Like I said, Jimmy Ward, that's why I'm kind of considering him a bust. I think we've gotten good play from other guys, and we could have used that cap space or money to go after, a top tier kind of name like Simmons, like I mentioned earlier. But still speaking on that interior line, though, and Tim Settle, here's a nice graph that I think Bogart will appreciate, because he's had Tim Settle on and off some of his IDP teams. But like I said, Tim Settle being a force to be reckoned with. And obviously, like I say, you'd like to be up in the upper right-hand quadrant in a lot of these graphs that we throw up here, or that I throw up here. And there he is, Tim Settle, and Mario Edwards was really just kind of like highlight. You see the Texans players in red, or at least the interior linemen, right? So Mario Edwards, Khalil Davis, Fatou Kassi in there. But now we get Danico Autry. He hasn't really done much in the one game since, he's returned. I actually didn't really see him at all this last week either. Wasn't paying too much attention to the interior offensive line, other than Tim Settle, who came in and got another sack. It just seems to be getting sacks, or half a sack in at least every appearance. So, Tim Settle. I thought I had a Tim Settle stat in my banners. I'm trying to look for that, but Tim Settle. If you don't know who Tim Settle is, now you do. I've mentioned his name several times. Interior lineman for the Texans. And like I said, he seemed to have come in clutch and been playing well, even when Mario Edwards was there. Both of them were a force to be reckoned with, really playing hard for D'Amico in that defense. So here we go, Tim Settle. And there it was. Just he's been one of the more productive interior linemen, according to it, over the last 3 weeks as well. So I think he's gotten a sack in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Got to go back and look at the box score, but I think he has 4 sacks on the season, Mr. Tim Settle. All right. Where was I? Let's check the comments. I'll just salute to everybody out there. Appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out with me here while we break it down. A little later than usual. I know I set this for about 8:45, but I had to take my medicine. All right. So Kenyon Green, I don't want to harp on this too long. Here's the graphic I throw up every week. Kenyon Green does not help us. This is a no-help offensive line type of deal. Shaq Mason has been playing kind of poorly as well. So both of our guards not guarding, if that's what you want to say. Got to guard a little bit better. And because of that, Juice Scruggs got beat on like one play last week. Wasn't necessarily his fault. Was going up against a tough pass rush there. Not a lot of help. He's gonna have a play or two where he's not, whatever. Sometimes he'll get beat. He's young. I think he's a second-year player, our center here. But the guard play has been horrendous. More so Kenyon Green. And let's see. Got Kenyon Green is killing us. So here's the entire PFF grades for these dudes. Let's just do it like that. And there you have your pass blocking. Like, what is that score? Look at the scores. I mean, the red jumps out at you. It's laughable. It's nowhere to be. Nothing to be desired there in this instance. It's I know you can't like throw all your stuff on PFF or some of these, the way they rank some of these things, but look at the offensive linemen there. They're the one, and the tight ends who block, they're the ones that are asterisk there. So those are the ones you really got to pay attention to. Kate Stover's, another tight end, but not necessarily lining up in line. Teagan is the inline guy. Stover kind of plays out of the fullback position a lot, or they'll put him in motion, try to chip, and then go out for a pass and things of that nature. But Juice Scruggs doing admirable, not too great. Like I said, he's not even necessarily I think the starting, or he wasn't the starting center. It was basically Jarrett Patterson all last season, who, if you look at his score, was really awesome, and he came in and played left guard in this game. He's right there below Titus Howard. Titus Howard doing his thing. Laramie Tunsil doing his thing. Like, he's going to be great. He's up there in the 90s. So they're doing their job. But if you look at Kenyon Green, that's a glaring hole. And if you go back and look at the all 22 and you look at the tape, you can spot the problem every time. And it's not that he can't block or he's not moving his feet or he's not physical. I think they're mental lapses, and he doesn't know, like, hey, I'm supposed to help with, here, and then slide off and pick this guy up here. He's not recognizing that stuff. So he's staying with one thing. It turns into a double team and somebody else gets right behind him, or he ends up not blocking anybody at all when he's trying to help somebody else, or Laramie Tunsil tries to help him out and he misses his assignment because he's late coming over because he's trying to help Kenyon Green. So Kenyon Green is the problem. Like I mentioned, they benched him. He was benched. He was so bad. The issue was so bad that he got benched. And so therefore they brought in Patterson off the bench, who's the backup center, and said, hey, you're going to play guard now. And he did a fantastic job, helped lead the way on the Joe Mixon touchdown run, but got concussed, unfortunately. Kenyon Green had to come back in. And then that's when I was confused. We were winning the game, and I was like, what's going on? And why is he back in the game? And then the Colts kind of snuck back in, and it got close, and the Texans couldn't really move the ball again because Kenyon Green fucking sucks. All right. I'm done with that. Move on. It's pretty much the same thing I say every week about the offensive line. It's the bad light bulb. You switch this one out and you see if the whole string will work, and you can get CJ Stroud some time to throw the fucking football. All right? That's a good one, Bogart. It's settled. Tim Settle is the GOAT. It's Tim Settled. No, he's been playing great out of nowhere. So you love to see stuff like that, especially when Danico Autry hasn't come on. He was suspended. Mario Edwards, is suspended, and he'll be out for a few more games before he's eligible to return. So things like that. But yeah, Kendrick Green really killing us. Really hate it. Not a good look. They got to do something about it. Man, I wish I could do something about it, but I can't. I can't. I'm not an offensive lineman. I can't play. I can't play on the line. I was a really good inline blocker. I'm not going to lie. That's what our offense used to do in high school. We ran the football a lot, and I was literally playing on the line a lot of times, blocking defensive ends, and then going to the second level, trying to get linebackers or safeties coming in. Had a lot of jawing opportunities with strong safeties all across the district, as I recall. But 21 years ago to this day, actually, I caught 2 touchdown passes in the district championship game. I forgot it. Today's October the 30th. Yep, love that. So I just got to throw that in there. And if you peruse on my YouTube, you can. I think I have the video somewhere. I might not. I don't know. Don't need to do that. Don't need to see it. It's okay. But yeah, the linebacker potential. Speaking of sacks, Will Anderson last week, 2 of them. That brings him to 7.5 on the year. There he is, number 3 on the list. Fortunately, Aiden Hutchinson, that he ties him, and he's gone out. He's been out a few weeks. He was really on a tear for the Lions, so I know that they're hurting there. But it's nice to see Will Anderson in a sophomore campaign having a good start to the season, or a good first half of the season. 7.5 sacks in 8 games is pretty damn good. And I remember hearing a few folks saying like, "Oh, he's not sacked. The sacks aren't coming." Blah, blah, blah. He's going to be just fine. You know, he's very much worth what the Texans traded away to move up and grab him. You know, pause. So, boom. Let's continue with the QB pressure list here. So there it is. Your 2024 QB pressure leaders, weeks 1 through 8. Danielle Hunter, number 1 on the list with 51 QB pressures. Will Anderson with 39. So 2 guys in the top 5, according to Next Gen Stats right there. The only teammate duo in the top 5. Houston Texans defense is for real, folks. They come to play. They bring the swarm, that mentality that DeMeco Ryans loves, what he's talking about. You know, that's his style, his brand of football. And this is the reason why the Texans are 6-2. People are like, oh, you know, they've won a lot of close games, and maybe they're like, you know, the worst 6-2 team we've ever seen. And I was like, well, when you bank a lot of that stuff on defense, you know, I look at these guys and, man, shoot, the way that they've been playing, they kind of remind me of the fucking Vikings right now. And, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, defense does win championships, and I have I'm in the mindset here that, you know, if they can fix this thing on the offensive line, CJ Stroud can make anybody on the offense look like a superstar. So they just got to fix this one glaring issue. I know that the Stephon Diggs thing, you know, we're going to miss you. You know, I hope that he has a speedy recovery and he's able to get a contract, but he's not going to be on the team anymore. We got to move past that. We got to get these other guys up and running, and you got to trade for an offensive lineman, in my opinion. Bring somebody in who can solidify that offensive line, keep CJ Stroud out of pressure situations, and just let him do what he does best, you know, when he has time to throw the football. So that's my opinion. I think that's who the Texans should do. I know a lot of people are like, they should probably trade for a wide receiver. But, you know, I think that they have plenty of guys in the room, especially with the defense playing the way that the defense plays, to move past this or beyond this and not look so desperate or needy to throw money at a receiver, trade picks away. I think that you should probably look in the offensive lineman market, because it's obviously what has been slowing down this offense. The defense is humming. The special teams is playing well again for the second year in a row. And then you know that your skill position players are good enough to do it. You know that CJ Stroud is good. You know you have decent tight ends. You know you have decent wide receivers, even though there's been injuries. And you know that Joe Mixon is phenomenal. You know that he is great. He's one of the best, probably the second best running back in the NFL right now on a per-touch basis, behind either Saquon or maybe even Kyren, you know, because the touchdowns are coming, right? But the man is, he's a beast.
Big butts and I cannot lie.
He also probably likes big butts, but, you know, he got the Angry Run Award scepter, I think, this week. And so, yeah, you know, and there are wide receiver rumors floating about. And these are some of the names that, you know, you might see, you know, the 6-2 Texans trying to maximize CJ Stroud, especially that they're not paying him right now at the moment, right? And, you know, the trade deadline is approaching, so I wouldn't put it past Nick Caserio to kind of take a peek at some of these players. Specifically, I like Jacoby Myers. You know, Slayton's another name, kind of longer in the tooth. Those guys, I'm not necessarily impressed by a Kendrick Bourne or a KJ Osborne, because I think that those guys are probably near the same type of level if you give Hutchinson and Mechie the opportunities. And so with Diggs out, I think Mechie kind of steps into that Diggs role. You know, early on in the season and in the training camps, he was really acting as a mentor to Mechie. So that's why you saw Hutchinson a lot more, making some clutch plays here and there over the last couple of weeks where Nico Collins would have been. But, you know, he wasn't necessarily Stroud's main target. And then he wasn't getting a lot of time to throw the football. So there is that, right? But those are some names that have been floating around the rumor mill lately. Ah, yes, thank you. Happy anniversary to the 2-touchdown game that I'll never forget. People, I still go, I'll drop by my old hometown and they'll still bring it up every now and then. Some old dude at the post office or at the restaurant where I'm having breakfast. When I would go out there, my father-in-law and my wife's family or at least her parents still live out in my old hometown, but everybody else has moved out of there. Even my folks don't live there anymore. They've moved away. So we all wanted to get away from that small town Texas life and move into the bigger part of the cities where I'm at. Not necessarily like really big or anything, but a lot more to do than just get in trouble. So yeah. Let's see, what else do we got for you though? I was trying to talk about the Colts. Let's just talk about the game last week. Texans did kind of pull away for a bit. It was never really too much in jeopardy, although off the gate I think the Colts jumped out in front, and then after that the Texans were just doing their thing. Obviously Mixon did his thing. He had over 100 rushing yards. I think he chipped in 32 through the air plus a TD. So all that stuff. Error 5, we already know. We talked about it a bunch of times. I never thought that he was any really good. Sometimes you got to take a wild chance and draft a quarterback and give him a shot. But the Colts were stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like, hey, do we let this guy develop by getting reps, or do we give our team the best chance to win right now? And I think they made the right decision in benching him here. He's just not good. His completion percentage is horrendous. He was just basically getting lucky when some coverage would break down. But other than that, I mean, I think he was at one point like 2 for 15 for 81 yards. And one of those, like the one pass play that like the stats are there. You can go back and look at it. Anthony Richardson is not a really good quarterback. So, dodged a bullet there. I know my brother-in-law was like, the Texans should draft Anthony Richardson. He's like the most gifted freak athlete. And I was like, you're one of those crazy pundits that just is going to chase the combine metrics, and you're not going to look at the film. Anyways, we could go on ad nauseum about Anthony Richardson's play, but Jonathan Taylor was able to rush for over 100 yards. I think he did also score a touchdown. So, those were kind of in the comeback efforts there later in the game. But that pushed the Texans' defensive stats. For the season, it skewed them just a tad, but they're still really, really good. So the Texans are in the driver's seat in the AFC South after sweeping the Colts, leading to the error 5 benching for the year. Some more notes from that game. We do know that Stephon Diggs, like I mentioned, out for the season with a torn ACL in the right knee. Thank you for everything, Mr. Diggs. Like I mentioned, I hope that he's able to recover and latch on with a team somewhere. And this is just a really raw bad deal. Like, he really wanted to come play for Houston. He was really enjoying his time here. He voided the last several years of his contract for Houston on a 1-year prove it. And then this injury happened. So it's very unfortunate that he didn't even get the bag for this. The Texans kind of came out of it really well. I have seen Bills fans being fucking petty on the internet saying they won the trade, right? And I was like, yeah, you got a 2nd-round pick, and I hope you blow it on something stupid, which you probably will, or you'll trade back, right, for Keon Coleman instead of taking Xavier Worthy or whatever. But that's just insensitive, right? I think that they had a really bad sour split with Stephon Diggs for whatever reason, and you just see them bad-mouthing him all the time. I think he was a really good leader. He was doing it on the field. He wasn't diva-ing it up at all, and it's just a really sad situation for him. And he still has money, right? And he has a fashion line and all these other avenues, and so hopefully this is probably the last time we'll see him in a Texans uniform, but hopefully not the last time we see him play football. I think that he will be coming into an age 32 season, but I think he still has a little bit of the tank. He was providing really well as a PPR kind of guy underneath the middle. So, I mean, at least a season or two, if he can come back from that injury, should be good to go for week 1. It's only halfway through the year right now. So, like I said, happy trails and good luck to you, Mr. Diggs. We're going to miss you. I didn't even get a chance to get one of your jerseys, man. So sorry. But yeah, let's go back to and keep going over this game. Aside from that, though, the Texans walked away with the win. Stroud looked pretty decent, threw for 285 yards and a touchdown, a near 100 rating there. And then in 2024, you can look at his numbers. He's 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 95.6 rate. So a little down the numbers, right? But when Joe Mixon's cooking and you can be 6-2 and your defense is humming, sometimes that's going to happen. So we all thought the Texans were going to be a good team, kind of take a step, get some wins. CJ going to have a sophomore slump. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a sophomore slump. I just think that, hey, sometimes it's the way the offense goes. Got to fix the offensive line, though. Once we do that, we can probably see those numbers go up. Once Nico returns from his 4-game absence, we're going to get the number 1 wide receiver back. The dude was literally, after every single week, the number 1 wide receiver in terms of receiving yards, totals, and per game. So just killing it. Let's check in with the chat. VW Blue Sky. Hutchinson and Schultz need to step up. I totally agree. And appreciate you, VW Blue Sky, for dropping in. First time I see you here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here every Wednesday night, roughly 8:30, 9 o'clock, just breaking down the previous week's matchup, talking the preview for the following or upcoming game. And then I'm just giving you my thoughts, going over, basically everything from the Texans lineup to fantasy lineup advice for you guys and who you should probably be playing and picking up, right? Yeah, Diggs is not coming back. He is out for the season, man. He is out for the season. Resign, kind of risky, but, he's already known the system, has some familiarity. I mean, maybe they do give him a shot. It depends on what happens right from here till some of the moves in the offseason, particularly if they lose more guys from the inside. Hope not, right? But, you never know. You never know. The door could be open. It seems like they had a really good relationship with him. They really liked him in Houston. So you never know. I never actually even thought about that. I kind of just thinking it's a foregone conclusion that he's not coming back and we'll never see him with the Texans again. But, it is what it is. Oh, man. Hey, appreciate you, dude. Yeah, heck yeah, dude. And make sure you're checking out our other sister channels and the mothership that I fly under, the flagship, which is the GWN Network. It stands for Gen Wealth Net. We have shows basically every day, running it 7 days a week. On Sundays, make sure you're tapping in for those. It's the most popular show. It's the Grit, Don't Quit, Start, Sit lineup edition. If you're into fantasy football, we're answering all questions from all the people in the chat. So you know how it is. Yeah, I'll see if I can post it right now. I'll give you guys a share link. Let me open up my YouTube and take care of some of that housekeeping. But really appreciate everybody coming through. We're just trying to grow and, give everybody fantasy advice, talk teams. One of the other dudes, Spencer the Guru, has a Saints channel that's specifically Saints. He did that last night as well. And then we have a Tuesday and Friday morning show called the Wake Your Game Up. And we're talking news, injuries, waiver wire pickups, trade advice, grading your teams. Hey, I did this move. What do you guys think? All that kind of stuff is up there. So make sure you're checking that out. But yeah, you can check out YouTube. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. I have this. I should have a banner here somewhere where, maybe not. Let's go back. I thought I had a banner here with all of our, it's under brands. We have so much stuff. No, it's not here. It's on the GWN. My apologies. But you know what I'll do? I will drop that stuff in the chat. Just go ahead and check out the GWN network or Gen Wealth Net. Let's see. Boom. Here you go. Spencer the Guru. Here's the website for all of the threads that you get to see the guys in the panel wearing. So here we go. So here is the website, neonpeacock.threadless.com. You can also find it at neonpeacockmerch.com. You check that out. Right now I have a sale. You can get $12 t-shirts if you use the code BOO12 at checkout. And I will run a promo for that later before the show closes. And then here is the Heart to Start YouTube channel that I'll drop in the chat now as well. And I'm dropping it through all of these so you can actually see where the channels are coming from. We have Heart to Start. I'll drop the Spencer the Guru. You want to give all these guys a like and a follow. We are having a giveaway going on. Heart to Start Fantasy Sports Podcast is kind enough to give away a signed Trey McBride Arizona Cardinals football. So go ahead and check out any of those channels as well. And let me see. Let me put up the main one. Come on, I got to put up the main channel, the Gen Wealth Net, and that's just YouTube at Gen Wealth Net. Shoot, I'm having trouble copying it over. It wants to give me like all the subscriber information and all that other junk as well. Here it is. Boom and done. All right. So those are the main channels. Make sure you're hitting those up. Like I said, Gen Wealth Net, if you click on that one, any other show that pops out under the sister channels, you'll go ahead and get access to those automatically. But if you're liking all of them or subscribing to all of them, then, we're on all of them. So that's how we do it. personalized fantasy information, sports news. We have the Ear to the Streets Lee, who's always tapped in, always locked in, giving us the latest news. We got Dr. Bogard. We got all the cool drops and segments that you'll come to know and love from watching our show. So no, thank you, man. Really appreciate it, or girl, person. Really appreciate you just coming in and hanging out and giving us some support. I mean, tell your friends, hit the like, share it. Especially, like I said, Tuesday, Friday mornings, we rock for about 3 hours, easy on the morning show. And then Sundays, we're doing the Grit Don't Quit. That's early in the morning, at least 2-3 hours before kickoff, all the way through till the afternoon games. And then we're doing live watch parties for the Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night games. So make sure you're hanging out and just chilling with us. And, you know, we're basically bouncing ideas off, talking football the entire time. So come hang with us. Plenty of fun for the week and the remainder of your fantasy football season and football season. So thank you very much for joining the family, man. All right. So continuing on with the Colts roundup really quickly. Back to my banners under the huddle. Let's see. Yeah, so I mentioned Texans are in the driver's seat. Been heating up, 2 wins in a row, right? On the other side, the Jets, not so much. We'll get there in a bit. But Houston's offense in Week 8 took 2 sacks, 57.5 QB pressure percentage. We talked about Kenyon Green kind of being the problem there. Hopefully, now they asked Coach D'Amico Ryans in press conferences either today or yesterday, you know, about Kenyon Green, and he says he's ready to roll. So fuck. They're going to put him out there again, and hopefully we don't get killed. Maybe there's a contingency plan, a backup plan, a plan B, ready to rock and roll in case he's sucking ass again, and they can throw another lineman in there. But at this point, I don't know what we're going to see. If anybody, it would probably be Kendrick Green, not to be confused with Kenyon Green, the one who's been stinking it up lately. I think that would probably be the switch they'd make because they brought in Jarrett Patterson last week, who did awesome until he got concussed, and now we're back in the same predicament on a short week. In a horrible MetLife field where CJ Stroud got concussed last year and Nico Collins tweaked his calf like on the first play of the game, and he was without Tank Dell already. He had just lost him the week before. So very eerie, scary, similar situations in late October heading to MetLife, unfortunately. But good news, Sir Mix-a-Lot in Week 8. Besides the Angry Run of the Week award that we already talked about, 25 attempts, 102 yards, 4.1 a carry, the touchdown on the Angry Run, and he chipped in 32 receiving yards in the air. Sir Mixon on a 3-game, 100-plus yard streak, although he will be facing a Jets rush defense holding RBs to 4.1 a carry. Go figure. That's what he had this last week. That's tied for 8th, or good enough to be tied for 8th in 2024 for the Jets. Yeah. Moving along. All right. Anything else from last week that we should talk about? Anybody want to talk about? I'm not here to talk about the Colts. Don't care. Beat their ass twice. Swept them. And now they want to make a push and win games with Flacco. I don't understand it. Weird reasoning. Might as well just keep going with AR or error. Or they're afraid he's going to tap out again. A pass rush defense. A Texans pass rush defense that makes you tap out. Texans pass rush in 2024, 27 sacks. So that's good enough for 3rd in the league. 43.8 QB pressure rate or percentage. That is 1st in the National Football League. Last week, 5 sacks on error 5. And Will Anderson now 7.5 on the season. Daniil Hunter 5.5. And as I mentioned, Tim, it's settle with 4. Aaron Rodgers is terrified every time he steps on that home field. Yeah, he has PTSD. I hope he comes out with a flag tomorrow. Let's see what happens. No, I mean, I want to see Aaron Rodgers finish out the season, and I want everybody to be healthy. That way we can say we beat him fair and square when it happens. Let's see if I have a few more points or any at all regarding the Indianapolis Colts. I know Pat McAfee's probably crying in his pillow right now with all the news of his guy error 5 tapping out, which is Will Anderson was on a podcast, and I think I shared it with some of our homies on the GWN and in the group chat. And Will Anderson said he's never in his life seen a quarterback tap out, and he just says that that's a testament to the Houston Texans defense, that swarm mentality, that high pressure rate. And here it is again, like I said, versus the Colts, 16 pressures, 3 sacks, 12 hurries. Hunter's win rate was 30.3. Anderson's win rate 16.1. They wrecked them. Ew, did I say wrecked them? Pause. Geez. And then, of course, I had that graphic earlier with the pressures, both these guys ranking in the top 4 pass rushers as far as QB pressures in the entire NFL, the only duo to do it. So the Texans D humming off of the nightmare fuel, as I like to call it. Let's pull that nightmare fuel up again. There they are. The nightmare fuel. Look at Danielle Hunter's arms. It's crazy. I think he has veins on top of veins. His veins have muscles. All right. Ridiculous. And it seems like every time he makes a sack, it looks like a wild animal eating its prey. It's pretty crazy. All right, let's see. What are we talking about now? Oh, here we go. Fun fact. Houston, the only Houston Texan quarterbacks in franchise history to sweep the Colts in a season has been Brock Osweiler back in 2016. I know Bogart's going to love that one. And CJ Stroud this last year. Wow. Wait, I have that. Yeah, that's what I read, or that's what I said when I read this. So Brock Osweiler, hey, he was good for something, and he led the Texans to a playoff win over the they weren't the Las Vegas Raiders at the time, but over the Raiders, and then lost a close one to the Patriots on the road, and had Will Alfuller pulled in that that touchdown pass that he dropped in the end zone, we would have won. So not Osweiler's fault. He got a bad rap. Took a lot of money and ran, and I'm glad we were able to dump his contract because he actually wasn't that good. It was mostly Hopkins doing all the work. So shout out to the Brock Lobster. Yeah, the Brock Lobster. It was good times. I'm ashamed to admit, though, that I had a Brock Osweiler jersey. But game over on that. Let's see. What does Bogart say? The Lobster was the only QB Nook couldn't eat with. I'm going to say that I remember having him on a roster, and he was good for 10 to 12 fantasy points, and then maybe a little bit more if he scored a touchdown. So you're right. He doesn't like eating excessively, but he still had a pretty good season with him. Oh, there you go. You had a car jersey, bro. Yeah, those are the days. I mean, at least then, though, the expectations weren't the expectations barely got to the level that they are now, right? It's been a while, but back then definitely weren't high at all. But yeah, it was tough. He had a rough go with the offensive line as well. Those kind of things. Expansion team, it wasn't until the Andre Johnson came in to help that we started seeing some of the cool stuff start to happen. Yeah, the Cowboys' first game, though, of course, Texans taking down the Cowboys. Great to see the end of, I think Emmitt Smith was still playing football in those days, towards the end there. But good times, man, good times. Come a long way now. I'm just really excited that we have a quarterback like CJ Stroud. And the Texans on 2 wins right now, going on the road. Got to pull this one out. I know that it's like a must win. The Jets are ass backed into a corner right now, but every game is important. We want to win every game. We don't care. We don't care. We need to beat the other team. So that's what's happening with that. Got to travel well. I know the Texans are already out there. Got to get prepped. Got to execute. Got to have better offensive line play. But here we are going into week 9. The only AFC teams with at least 6 wins after 8 weeks. Chiefs have 7, obviously. Steelers 6-2. The Bills at 6-2. The Texans beat head-to-head, and of course our Houston Texans. These are the only 6-win AFC teams out there right now, folks. You can count them on one hand. All right, let's really get into the Jets now. Pause. All right, so the Jets are still looking. Oh, come on, no. There we go. The Jets enter Thursday Night Football still looking for the first win post going all in for Devontae Adams. I misspelled Devontae. Sorry, it's Devonta. There's double A's, but you know what I mean. After going in there's too many Devontaes and Devontas out there in the NFL at the moment. But yeah, so they're still looking for their first win post trade. Haven't seen the Aaron Rodgers imminent connection to Adams like years past. So not sure what's going on there. I'd probably have to have Kidda join. Kidda, who's also one of our panelists on several of the shows. He's a Jets fan, so I'd have to have him come in and explain what's going on there, because I haven't seen many Jets games, although they've been on primetime what seems like almost every other week, right? So, yeah, it is what it is. All right, so here's some things of note. The Jets' pass defense in 2024, 83.9 rate, 11th, right, in the league, a 59.8 completion percentage. That's second only to the Houston Texans. So the Texans are going to still have their hands full, especially down Collins and Diggs, obviously. Tank Dell's going to have to step it up, our boy Tank. It's not going to be a favorable matchup, obviously, but we're hoping for 7 to 9 targets and him coming down with 4 or 5 of those for 50 yards and a touchdown. That'd be freaking awesome if he could pull that off. But that may be asking a little bit too much, especially if Sauce Gardner is going to be clamping down on him. Now, I did mention that the Houston's pass offense last week was sacked twice, which isn't too bad, right? But the QB pressure was high, 57.5% pressure rate there. CJ Stroud has done admirably against the blitz, but if the pressure's coming off of 4-man fronts, it's a lot tougher. He's having to get rid of the ball, dump it out. That's why we saw Joe Mixon in the flat a little bit. Hopefully they start to do some things with Tank Dell, move him around, maybe put him back in the slot, get some easy slants and the ball into his hands. That way he's not just playing on the perimeter like he has been solely all season, which is a little harder to get open, right? If you can move him around and use him the way they used him last year, which I feel like they haven't done at all, then maybe they can get him going. And that's what you need to do. Maybe don't treat him as the wide receiver one. Maybe treat Hutchinson as the one and Mechie, as that Diggs role, or flip him. Maybe have Mechie go out to the perimeter and have Tank come into the slot at times. But I don't know what Bobby Slowick's doing, and I don't know all the nuances that well of the offense to kind of poke my head in and say, hey, would this work, or, what does it not? So it is what it is there. But yeah, the Jets pass rush defense is going to be something to watch. Obviously, the Texans offensive line, not very good unless they figure out what's going on with their left guard situation. So, yeah, it's slippery slope almost, right? It's tough to deal with. All right, moving on. Did talk about Mixon already. Aaron Rodgers last week, 2 touchdowns, 233 yards, 111.2 rate. He broke a 3-game interception streak that he was on, so he had a really good game last week. Did not get the win versus the New England Patriots, which is kind of surprising, but now we have a backed-up Jets team, really fighting and scraping for a win. These are when teams are at their most dangerous. And then Texans, short week, injury-riddled again, losing a major key leader in the locker room and on the field. It kind of takes the air out of your sails a little bit. So we'll see if they travel well and are able to get up for this. I mean, hopefully D'Amico and the coaching staff will have them ready to play and execute and be excited and good to go. But the overall atmosphere, from what I saw from some of the quick practice film, obviously they're not doing too much. It's a short week. You want to recover more than anything, but it didn't seem like you're just going to be able to flip the switch from after a devastating injury and losing Stephon Diggs for the season. So in that game, though, last week, only 6 targets and 4 receptions, 54 yards for Devontae Adams. There I spelled his name right. But on the other side, Garrett Wilson with a 5 for 8 and 113 yards through the air. The Texans are going to have to be wary and not give up a big play, which they have been known to do. I think they've given up 11 TDs or something crazy like that. Let's see. Texans pass defense in 2024, an 80.1 rate, which is tied for 4th. Not bad. And the 53.1 completion percentage, there's what I was talking about being first. This team that's second, the Jets, who they're playing this week. So could be a defensive battle as far as the passing game goes. I expect both running backs to get heavily involved in this one. I think that's what it's going to be. Mostly ground games. Which team can execute the passing game, protect their quarterback? I think the Jets probably do a little bit better in that area with their offensive line, and there you have it. They have 18 sacks taken, which is tied for 14th, middle of the pack, and then 25.1 QB pressure percentage. That's first, baby. They are doing a hell of a job protecting, or at least giving Aaron Rodgers the time he needs to get rid of the football. Now, Aaron Rodgers is getting rid of the football at an extremely high clip, so maybe that's why the pressure rate is extremely low. I don't know. Chicken or the egg scenario there. Not too sure. But Texans are the second lowest rate to tight ends in 2024, but to wide receivers, and this is what I mentioned, they've given up 11 TDs. That's basically ass booty backwards last place, basically. 31st in the league, and then 85.9. That's a 13th rate, middle of the pack. So wide receivers are the ones who eat versus the Texans. Go ahead and fire up your Devontae Adams. Go ahead and fire up your Garrett Wilson confidently. I would be skeptical or less confident in trying to put Tyler Conklin in your lineup unless it's tight end premium and you're desperate. And it happens. I know I have Conklin in at least one lineup somewhere. At least. Maybe two. Who knows? Shh. Don't tell anybody. Hey, what is up? Spencer the Guru. There's another one of our brother channels. Spencer the Guru does have his show. He was on last night. Great stuff. He has the Guru Nation Power Hour, and he breaks down all the fantasy isms, mostly stock up, stock down reports, and with a focus on his Saints, of course. But he covers the entire league with great stuff. He's also a writer out there in the fantasy community doing much, much more than writing, a lot of extensive work. So appreciate you for one, stopping by, and also being one of the best friends that a guy could have out here. Power Hour. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, it's been about a year since I've seen Spencer. He's out in Louisiana, not too far from where I am. So maybe one of these days we'll get together again and then hang out. But cheers to you, my good friend. And enjoy your show. Enjoy your show. Make sure if you're new to the channel, you're going over to Spencer's YouTube, liking and subscribing. Lots of good content coming out of there. Not only that, he also does cover from time to time, win in season, some NASCAR stuff for you folks. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out as well. Yeah. Conklin, touchdown 2 weeks in a row. Oh, no, you don't say. You don't say. That calls for, let's see if I got it. Some of these are, there it is.
He's heating up.
Yeah, so these need to be renamed. They have like the original download file name, so it's a lot harder for me to find these drops on my channel compared to the GWN network. So, and just so if you're new to the channel here, I'll just change it up for you real quick. Here's the GWN preview. There's like our Q&A background motion stuff. You get the green smoke going, all that cool, jazz. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Spencer. And just showing some of the new folks who are new to the channel, some of the things that we are capable of and doing out here. So this is like one of our GWN like background deals that we do when we're doing Q&A. We'll also have the Wake Your Game Up stuff. Of course, Spencer Guru with all his. I don't have a green screen up where he has all his other cool stuff, but you get the basic gist of that. And then of course we're back out here with the H-Town Huddle, where I do a lot of the graphic work for the other channels and some of the drops and the videos and things of that nature. So you guys will get a chance to check some of that out as well. I also do some video editing on the side. You saw the intros and outros, and then some of the highlight videos. Didn't get a chance to do one this last week. Short week, like I said, been pretty busy, but maybe we'll get one if we have some explosive plays versus the Jets, or maybe I can do like a mid-season highlight film. But here's a quick sample of some of the work that I do. Here's a quick Texans offensive highlight film from the Patriots game.
Beats, make it funky, funky, funky.
there you have it. Hope you enjoyed that. I do have a plethora of those videos that I will put out from time to time. If you go check out my YouTube channel, I also have a whole mix of video edits where I have some great music from our man Bogart and the GMM Network in the comments where he's rapping, laying down some heat, and I'm doing some cool stuff with some animated characters, making it look like they're rapping for him. So go ahead and go over to my YouTube channel whenever you get a chance, maybe after this show is over, and go check out some of my work. And then always hit me up, like I said, for any graphic work. If you guys want something put on a t-shirt, we can put it up on the neonpeacockmerch.com, available for you to buy, and then you can grab t-shirts when I'm having a sale. Make sure you're heading on over there for the next 36 to 24 hours. The sale will still be going on. Try to hit Boo12 in the checkout for your code there, and you get $12 t-shirts marked down from 22. So saving some serious dough. How does he make any money, guys? I don't know. I'm just giving these things away basically, but go ahead and check out the website. Lots of cool merch. Not only do I have custom stuff for fantasy leagues and teams, but we have all the custom player nickname Hall of Fame stuff, from the Jets to the Chargers. I mean, anybody you want, you name it, it's on there. And if there is somebody that you don't see on there that you would like to see, give me an idea for a cool shirt and I will get it up there for you. No problem. The motto is, it can be done. Now, back to the show. So, yeah, Jets offense, 18 sacks taken. That's where we're at, right? To the pressures. Good stuff. Okay. And there we are. Texans, 27 sacks in 2024. That's third. First in QB pressures. And then the 5 sacks last week. We already went over that as well. Here we are. Breece Hall, 16 carries, 80 yards, 5 yards per carry last week in their game versus New England. And I was going to say the win, but they didn't. It felt like they win, or it looked like they won on paper if you look at some of these stats, but they were not able to pull out the dub. Houston's rush defense has been fairly good all season. They may have some issues again, but I feel like they faced top-notch running backs from other teams and done fairly good job, kind of just bottling them up or keeping them, in a kind of bend, don't break mentality to where it doesn't hurt them too much. Houston's rush defense versus JT last week, however, did allow a C note plus 105 yards, 5.3 a carry, which, like I said, elevated or kind of skewed their yards per carry all the way up to 5.1 yards per carry in 2024. I think it was like at a 3.7 before this game. So I'm a numbers guy, but I'm also a films guy. So do a little bit of both, as you should. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, take advantage of the Halloween sale. Use the code BOO12. Yeah, you don't need to put the space in there, but just for reading preferences. Yes, appreciate you, man. Tino win here. You already know it. Shohei about to hit a home run. Hitting us with the World Series updates. Yeah, once my Astros back here were eliminated, I just kind of said I want both these teams to lose, and therefore I'm not really watching. I caught some parts. I'm staying relevant, right? It's water cooler talk at least, but I don't really care. Don't really care. Give it to the Dodgers, sure. Better than the Yankees. I forget Tino's a Yankees fan because he's also a Cowboys fan. It's like they have to be exclusive. They're not exclusive. I'm just joking with you, Tino. Appreciate you for coming through and giving me the update. Let me know if Sohani hits that. If Sohei hits that home run. You got the same feeling about the presidential election. Oh no! Oh gosh. Yeah, I just can't wait for all the political ads to kind of just be over with. They're getting out of hand. Really, really getting annoying, actually. So yeah, Breece Hall will prove to be a challenge, I think, this week. Just got to see what's available for us with the linebacking core. I think they've been playing well. They should play fairly juiced up. The thing that worries me is when the backs escape out of the backfield and we have to get one of our lesser linebackers in coverage. It's worried me in the past with Hansen, and we saw it on Josh Jacobs' first receiving touchdown of his career. Hansen slips and falls, is not able to make a tackle, 5 yards from the goal line or whatever, and it's an easy touchdown for Josh Jacobs. So little things like that But with H2O back, I'm assuming better linebacker play, and hopefully Neville Hewitt can just continue to fill in that hole. We'll see if we can get Azeez Al-Shire back. I think that this is probably like maybe he could go. I don't know. I'm not too sure about what's going on with his knee injury, but it seems like you don't want to put him out there on a short week on a bad field. Right, just let him get fully recovered, fully healthy, and then bring everybody back for the really, really big game versus the Detroit Lions. Yeah. And Bogart decided to be a doctor instead of a president. And he does play one on TV if you ever are catching any of our shows. He will break down all the medical stuff for you with his trusty assistant, Bones Justice, the skeleton hanging in the background. So make sure you're checking out those shows. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will. It'll be probably your favorite thing after you see it. So make sure that you are checking out those other shows as well. All right. And tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be doing the live watch party for Halloween, baby. So I will probably be in costume, some sort of costume, although it does get hot in here. So maybe I'll have to bring an extra fan in from the garage, or we'll just do it for a small period of time. But I might also be taking my kids trick-or-treating. So we're going to have to play around with it. But I'm sure the crew will band together and we'll take shifts on the live stream watching the Texans versus the Jets. Actually, if the game's going to be going on, I'm not taking my kids trick-or-treating during that time. We're getting it done early, like right after school. So lots of stuff going on this Halloween weekend. Like I said, one of my favorite times of the year. Just a few more notes. Oh, shoot. Quite a bit of notes, but let's see if we can get through it all here and start wrapping this one up. I do try to like to go for about an hour, keep everybody entertained, and then we get the hell out of here. That way we don't linger too long and I get boring and long-winded. But league-wide receiving yards per game leaders through week 8, minimum 4 games played. Guess who's number 1? Mr. Nico Collins, who, like I mentioned, should be on track to return after this week. Personally, from what I've seen or heard and just the severity of the injury when we did see it happen in the game a couple of weeks ago, it was probably more like a 2-week injury. They were just erring on the side of caution here, especially with this group of games being back-to-back and then traveling to a shitty field. So my guess is if he had to, if this was a playoff game, he would have played this week. And they wouldn't have put him on IR, obviously. But Nico Collins leading the way, A.J. Brown there. So some of these guys have been missing games. Justin Jefferson just being a freaking beast. CeeDee Lamb also probably after this last week, and Jamar Chase breaks a couple of those open also. But Nico Collins still leading the damn way. We missed you, Nico. Get fully healthy, be 100 and ready to rock for the second half of the season. And hopefully you can still put up great season-long numbers because I believe he's an all-pro. Yeah, I do. Deep in my heart, this guy's just he's a beast of a wide receiver. He has all the physical traits. He's put in the work. He got stronger, bigger, faster, hitting that weight room. So hopefully he's been recovering well, and he's ready to rock next week when he gets back. Let's see. Lee saying, yeah, Dr. Bogey is the bomb. Uh-oh, Yankees. Hey, appreciate you, Lee. Yeah, I do get a lot of stuff done here behind the scenes, but at the same time, it's just to put on a great production for everybody who's out there rocking with us, watching, make sure that we're all having a good time with the drops and laughing together. And fantasy football and football in general is supposed to be fun, so that's what we're here for. That's the main goal. All right, Dodgers are up 7-6. If you guys wanted that update, I think I saw like 4 people drop off the channel. They're like, oh, shit, this is the World Series is on. Just joking. All right, back at it. We were talking about Nico Collins just for a sec. We talked about the edge rushers being super awesome. We talked about Tim Settle. You know what? I think we did talk about most of this. Oh, here's one. Here's a historic fun fact. Texans running back Joe Mixon is the first player in NFL history with 100 rushing yards and a touchdown in 4 of his first 5 games with the team. I know, one of those obscure stats, but it's just something fun to look at and just to realize how well he's been playing for this team, making Cincinnati really look bad, I think, with letting him go and not keeping him over there. I think he really took that to heart, and he's been wanting to show up and show out every single time he touches the football. It's something the Texans have been needing and missing for years now at the position. I know Dameon Pierce had a solid rookie campaign, But to really see like a veteran who can still do it, churn his legs, juke the heck out of people, looks quick, and then finishes runs extremely strong. And he just helps the team out tremendously. He is the straw that mixes the Texans shake. Like I've mentioned, he is Mr. Sir Mix-a-Lot. He likes touchdowns, and he cannot lie, and that is why he has the Sir Mix-a-Lot drop. I didn't have to explain it. Kind of get it, right? But just in case you didn't. Let's see. If Sohei comes and closes for the Dodgers, I want the man checked. He may be a robot. He's going to throw with his left hand to close it out. Could you imagine? I would definitely be in freak out. All right. Just a few more points here, I think. Then we can close this bad boy out. Talked about the fun fact. So did want to bring up in the absence of Stephon Diggs. I know we've mentioned his name a couple of times here throughout the program, but Mechie, just a refresher course on John Mechie and what he's gone through in his career since getting drafted. But before that, he caught 96 passes for 1,142 yards and 8 touchdowns in Alabama. In 2021, he tore his ACL in the championship game. He was the Biletnikoff Award finalist twice. He got leukemia, remember that, first season in the NFL. And then he finished his blood treatment in March of last year. So, just a little over a year ago, he finished the leukemia. He's still 2 years off of the ACL, or coming into his second year off of the ACL tear. Plenty of room to grow. Opportunity awaits here, at least for this week, unless the Texans decide to trade for a wide receiver, which I think they shouldn't. I think that Hutchinson and Mechie should provide enough depth, at least for now, in this 1 week stopgap. And then you get Nico Collins back, presumably, for the rest of the season. And hopefully him and Tank Dell stay healthy. You should be able to, squeeze both of them in along with Robert Woods. I do believe that keeping Steve Sims over Noah Brown is now a mistake in hindsight, because now Noah Brown's healthy and he just caught that Hail Mary pass. But at the same time, he was just standing back there. But yeah, a healthy Noah Brown was phenomenal for our team last season. CJ Stroud could really benefit from a big-bodied wide receiver like that. Hutchinson is that, but he's not as wide. He's a little leaner, but he is very tall, kind of has the Nico frame when Nico was first kind of coming out of college as well. Then he put on a little bit more size and speed. So I think Hutchinson has a lot of potential. He's been coming in clutch for at least a couple of plays over the last couple of weeks to keep drives extended. And that's what the Texans need to do. Stay out of third and long, extend drives, and just, you don't have to go over the top and score a touchdown every single play. And they, CJ, I think, has done a pretty good job of doing that and taking what defenses give him. It's just been kind of like, oh gosh, is this what they're always going to give me, right? So I think the last time we saw somebody go single high and they went man up, he torched them, and Nico Collins had that long 70-yard touchdown where he pulled his hamstring, unfortunately. But with all this going on right now, I think that they're fine. There's they've had a kind of a riches in the depth position there, wide receiver. Let's go ahead and use these guys and see what they really got. No reason to go out and try to throw away another pick. They've lost a second-round pick, essentially been flushed down the drain. Now, I know that we probably couldn't have won those 6 games without Stephon Diggs, so not necessarily a total waste, right, if you really want to look at it. But it does suck that is now gone. We can't use him for the next half of the season, and therefore these guys are going to have to step up. They've said so in the press conferences. The Texans know it. Everybody knows it. Can they do it? Let's see if Bobby Slowick does a good enough job, maybe hiding Tank Dell, using him in different kind of formations, moving him around, and relying on these other guys to just be, perimeter dudes up against probably lesser coverage. I'm not going to see Sauce Gardner, so get the guy who's open, scheme him open. Use Cade Stover, use Joe Mixon, use Dalton Schultz in the passing game. I mean, you have good tight ends, good receiving tight ends, both of them actually. So if he can utilize the whole playbook, all of his personnel, and not be sole focused on like we have to throw it to Diggs and Nico, or we need to try to get Tank going. Like, no, we need to just move the football down the field. We need to take what the defense gives us. We need to get first downs and stay out of third and longs and get good down and distance situations. We need to protect CJ Stroud, and the defense just needs to do what the defense does, and that's swarm and come to play football and be very physical. So if we can do that, give Joe Mixon 25, 30 touches, dominate this game, they should come out of there with a win. My prediction, Texans 24, Jets 19. I don't know I think the line is a -2 or -2 in favor of the Jets. It was at a -1.5. And then it changed. I don't know why. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Nothing much has changed other than Diggs is out for the season, but he was already ruled out for this game. So not necessarily understanding the 1 point push, other than for maybe the fact that there's a lot of heavy bettors in New York that are saying, okay, they can't lose a 5th or 6th game in a row or something like that, right? So Aaron Rodgers is better than that. Here is the Jets inactives, or guys that are out. CJ Mosley, Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, Chuck Clark's on IR. Alan Lazard is not going to play. Their guard, Vera Tucker, and then questionable tackle Morgan Moses. So we'll see if he plays, but they're a little banged up too, not necessarily as bad or in key positions like the Texans are, I believe. CJ Mosley does probably hurt for the run game, right? But he's been missing or banged up the last couple of weeks as well. So I know, because I had him and I played him, and then he was banged. He got knocked out of a game, and I was like, damn it, IDP stuff. The way we're talking about having Hutchinson as the number 3 when they get Nico. They were talking about having Hutchinson as the number 3 when they get Nico back. Yeah, I could see that, Okay. The internet definitely went out at my house, so don't know what's going on there. Sorry, everybody, for that. But at least I can come back on here and I can end the stream without it going forever and ever. I had to disconnect the internet from my phone, and I'm just going off of whatever right now. So no, it definitely wasn't an alien abduction, but I appreciate everybody for for your concerns. But yeah, really spooky stuff going on. Spectrum sucks ass right now, so sorry about all of that. But yeah, the Halloween special, we'll throw this one up for tomorrow as well. We'll have that on in the background. We'll do some spooky stuff, so make sure you're checking us out while we're doing the live watch party. Apologize for being in the matrix, but yeah, if you can see, like, my internet's down, like my connection was interrupted, so we got to make do with what we can. But appreciate everybody, especially the new folks who are up in here. Make sure you tell your friends, like and subscribe. We're here to help you win fantasy championships. All of us are in multiple leagues. We play together against each other. We're in a war right now. It's battle number 9 coming up, right? And we'll see who's the last man standing. Only one team can win a championship, folks. So stay with it. Keep grinning and bearing, even if your team sucks. But we're doing it. We're doing it live, and we're here helping you out. So appreciate everybody for showing up, showing out, showing the support to the H-Town Huddle. Like the show, subscribe, tell all your friends. Go check out neonpeacockmerch.com. Use code BOO12 at checkout for $12 t-shirts. Check out all the other stuff on the website. Have a fun and safe Halloween. Make sure you're checking us out tomorrow night as well. We will be on rocking with you to watch this game. And go Texans. Peace.